Everybody loves Shrek. I was not a big fan of Shrek because I'm looking at an ogre. Thank you for joining me. This is So Tea episode 3, where I basically just talk about my media consumption, and this is specifically for October through November media consumption. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't super intentional, like where I was like, okay, these are the 2 movies that I want to watch this month that I want to talk about and dive into, the way that I was for the previous months. However, there were movies that I was like, I want to see this, I want to see this, I want to see that. And I actually went super duper crazy and watched so much things. Like, I watched so many films this October through November period, especially in October. And we are going to start off with film first. Caught Stealing was honestly... Listen, guys, y'all have to go see Caught Stealing if you order it, whatever. I promise you, I have really good taste. And that was a movie that felt very indie, very different, very unique, and it was something that I feel like no one was really talking about that much. It has Zoe Kravitz, Austin Butler, like that guy that played in Morbius. Morbius. Why did I say Morpheus? The guy that played in Morbius, as the sick, like, friend, the, like, antagonist or whatever. And it was honestly an ensemble cast. Regina Hall was in it. It was a very... It's not, like, fun, but it is like a quick, adventurous, very good film. Like, it was such a great film, and I like to see original filmmakers making these original stories. I don't know if it was based on a novel or something, but Caught Stealing was not what I expected, and in such a good way, because I knew right away I wanted to see it based on who the actors and the actresses were that were in it. I was like, I know it's gonna be good, right? But the pacing, the storytelling, it was better than what I could imagine. And I don't want to give anything away. You just gotta go watch it for yourself. I also went to see him, and I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care what the hell none of y'all say. Him was a good movie. I actually did a couple TikTok reviews on why Him was such a good film and why I think that they're trying to, like, bomb it with Rotten Tomatoes terrible scores and all of the things. I just generally think it's about money. Like, I feel like the reason that they bombed Him and tried to say that it wasn't a good movie was because, like I said in my TikTok videos, if you have your product being represented, something that is if you're a manager or if you're a coach and you have your commodity, which is your talent, being represented as an actual human being instead of objectified, and we talk about the dangers of something like sports, which is so lucrative for the country, then I feel like it's gonna ruffle some feathers. And the only reason that it was scored that low is because it ruffled a lot of feathers. And just genuinely, people are fucking fried. Excuse my language. People are so brain fried. They feel like they've seen everything and they know everything, and you gotta surprise them and this, that, and the third. It's like they can't just objectively look at something and say, this is what I liked about it. Everyone is a critic now, but none of it is constructive. It's just destructive criticism being thrown left and right. And I feel like it was extremely unfair because that film was really nice. Nice plot twist, nice symbolism, like extreme symbolism that I really liked. And I feel like Marlon did an incredible job as far as acting. Tariq did a really great job. You know what? It's so funny because I watched his, like, when Atlanta was still on and the new episodes were coming out. Of course, we've all seen that episode of Atlanta that he played in. And I thought to myself, this is fucking hilarious. So, I also felt to myself, like, we're gonna see him again. So, to see him back in that film, and from a horror perspective, I was just like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is so dope. New talent. That's a strong movie, and I feel like had it came out in 2017, it would have been appraised. It would have gotten appraisal like crazy. Like, it would have been, all the critics would have approved. But we're in a new era where hating is cool now. So, but one thing, I'm never gonna just hate for no reason. Okay, I'm never gonna just be like, oh, what is everybody thinking? I think the same thing. Bitch, that's just never been me. Yes, him was suspenseful. Him was a bit gory. Him was I would totally rewatch that. I would actually go to the theater and see it again, but I don't even know if it's still in theaters, because the way that they got this rotation with movies, they be out, in and out, in and out. Another film that I watched, which is my boyfriend's actual favorite movie, and you know, I love Spike Lee, but I've never seen this film. He Got Game. He Got Game was a great story, great storytelling, great characters, felt very real, felt very, very much like a fever dream at the same time, because whenever you think of that cast, whenever you think of the story, it was really great. And I'm glad I got to share that moment of like watching that film with him, because my favorite is Crooklyn. I'm not gonna get choked up. I'm not gonna get choked up, guys. Crooklyn is one of my favorite films, so it's like that was his version of Crooklyn. He Got Game, and it was so good. It was so good. Like, I might have shed a little tear. Like, as I always say, you know, sometimes thugs gotta cry. You know, I shed a little tear. That was a great movie, and I'm always gonna remember that. We also watched a series of 90s like really good films that used to be like always on in our childhood, and I feel like it's so important to note that when we were growing up, we had cable. We had to watch what was on, and we may not have had the guide to see what was on. So the films that we had was on VHS. So Liar Liar, we went back and rewatched Liar Liar, and that was just really great about family. I going back and rewatching, I hadn't watched it in so long, like especially not as an adult, and I was saying it line by line by line. Liar Liar is great. It's a great film about family, and it just felt so, there's so much texture in these earlier movies that has been stripped, which is why I think so many films that we watch now and like the whole cinema is like dated pieces and like period pieces and stuff like that, like during a certain era in history, because we've lost a lot of texture. Things aren't as inspiring as they used to be because everything is so flat. Genuinely, Liar Liar just felt so silly and goofy and real. All of these films have like a common thread in which they were very, very real movies. A lawyer who's kind of an asshole. His son is like, damn, I wish my dad would really show up in my life. And then he can't tell a lie, but he's a lawyer. You know, and he's protecting people that probably don't need to be protected. Great film, silly. Jim Carrey's hilarious. We also watched Matilda. Now, I've never seen Matilda when I was younger because it felt like a very frightening movie. And I think when I was younger, I didn't do well with things that were like ugly. So like, everybody loves Shrek. I was not a big fan of Shrek because I'm looking at an ogre. With Matilda, the big evil teacher threw me completely off. Okay, as a young woman, I was not wanting to watch that, but going back and watching and seeing Danny DeVito and seeing like her be this little outcast of her family, but she was at the wrong family, then she found the right teacher, and you know, that was such a cute little story and such a cute little film, and it felt really like relatable, because I was like, yo, I remember feeling like a little genius when I was that age, but at the same time I wasn't, you know, my family loved me, you know, my mother loved me, and you know, yeah, but it was relatable in the sense of like being really smart, really intelligent, and it coming from nowhere. Like I was like, okay, period, me too, sis. But Matilda was good. I did not like that movie, but actually going back and watching it as an adult, I was like, this is so cute. Like there's actual valuable lessons that's in this film. Another movie that we watched, this is one of my favorite movies that I grew up watching, Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire. That film was so, oh, my heart. Watching Mrs. Doubtfire again as a grown woman, my heart expanded, and I just remember being younger and watching that film and kind of like not understanding certain parts and then understanding. Like when I was younger watching Mrs. Doubtfire, I wasn't thinking like, okay, this man is willing to do anything for his kids, so much so that he dressed up as a damn nanny. Like my mind wasn't able to process, like, he is willing, this is how much he loves his kids. Like I just thought, oh, this is silly, this is goofy, like this is actually hilarious. Like he's a trickster, like he's a trickster, it's trickster energy. Like I wasn't realizing like this is how passionate this man was about his kids, and this is how the wife was so mean. The ex-wife, I should say, was so mean. Like she really did not want him to see his kids, and I was like, oh, very similar themes to Mrs. Doubtfire. Like Liar Liar and Mrs. Doubtfire have very similar themes. Like I even would like to think that they're in the same universe, because Jim Carrey's assistant was also the same lady who was like the caseworker in Mrs. Doubtfire, and I was just like, I swear they're in the same universe. But such a great film. Like it feels like such a treat to see certain scenes where it's like real non-CGI animals, real backgrounds. This is really San Francisco or something. Like this is really California. This is really a real building. This is not a fake ass set. This is real. This is staged with life. And yeah, I just feel like so spoiled whenever I see, like I said, the texture of these older like 90s films, 90s early 2000s films. It makes me really go like, wow, there used to be so much character that really told such a big story about, like there was so much character in the environment that as the day goes on, it's like as the years pass, there's things that are being left behind. Last but not least, another film that I absolutely enjoyed was The Substance. Okay, The Substance. Okay, that was definitely like picture of Dorian Gray, very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. That was so deep. That film, it was so funny because I watched it with my boyfriend, and I could see him like cringing at certain scenes, and I'm like, this is what girlhood is like. Like this is what the girlhood to womanhood pipeline is like. It's not beautiful. it's messy. You have these two beautiful like main characters that are supposed to be like quote unquote one, but there are some really gory, messy, like frightening scenes, and it really didn't bother me because I'm like, yeah, this is what it feels like to go on to like cycle through as a woman throughout life with, you know, menstrual cycles, with like, you know, the things that we have to deal with because, or the things that come with womanhood. So I think The Substance was very, very great. A rhetoric on self-love, of course, that's like the basis of it. It's like this woman hated herself so much that she couldn't even kill what was killing her. She wanted to be accepted so bad that she was willing to let herself rot. Definitely recommend. It's not an easy watch, but especially if you're not big on like horror movies or like horror films, but I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth it. I love horror films. I'm a big, you know, I love that. But if you're not, then maybe you wouldn't enjoy it as much, but I feel like it's so good that you would have to keep watching. The book that I am currently reading is Spook Lights by Eden Royce. She's actually a native of where I'm from, Charleston, 843 if you ain't really know. If you ain't had much know. I feel like this is a reread for me. I wanted to reread it and I honestly haven't been doing that good, but my interest was in the first story on the first part, Spook Lights. I had to just get into the feel of that because Spook Lights is what Sinners, which I think Sinners is exactly what Spook Lights is. Like that, it's such a great novel, and I actually have created pieces like my I used it as a study for one of the pieces that I made on with yarn and stuff like that. Spook Lights is life-changing, and it's definitely something that I can't wait to read to my kids and stuff and be like, hey guys, like she's from where mommy's from, okay? Spook Lights, great. I recommend. It's a great novel, and I'm glad to be rereading, and I'm actually going to get really determined when it comes to rereading because I was supposed to finish it in October, but bitch, October came and the fuck went by, okay? Now, I also watched a lot of TV, okay? And I'm gonna have to talk about the intentional TV because you know I ran through Selling Sunset, ran through Selling Sunset, and it was pissing me off because the way that they was treating Chelsea was throwing me the fuck off, like especially Mary, and I was just confused as fuck because bitch what? But I don't want to even get into that because that was like the junk food of media that I consumed. But I've been watching the Vince Staples show on Netflix, and I'm loving the way the plot is going. I said, hey, somebody gotta. I'm noticing that these newer artists and these newer like creators and stuff like that, granted they've been in the game for a long time, but as far as Vince Staples, I'm like, he's clearly picking up with that surreal black, when you're black everything is surreal vibe that Atlanta had, and I'm definitely so with it. Because it's just some silly ass shit going on, but it's also a really, I'm sticking with him, okay? I'm sticking with him as to what's happening next, and like while we're watching this, we're trying to like pinch it, we're trying to like ration Vince Staple episodes. We're like, okay, let's watch a little bit, okay, we gotta stop, okay, let's watch a little bit. Like we're trying to ration how much we watch the Vince Staples show because it really is that good. So yeah, we're watching season 2, and there's like some really crazy moments that's happening, and I'm fucking with it for real. I'm also watching I Love LA. First episode was triggering as fuck, like triggering in a lot of different ways because it's just like this whole influencer culture, all the things. That shit was that was funny. That was funny to watch. I'm liking the characters. That definitely made me laugh in a very like, oh wow way. But I feel like it's interesting because I feel like I always had kind of an idea that people on the West, or like that live in the West, a lot of crazy shit happens, and it's like they don't even really have the capacity to like register. Like, well, I feel like when you're in a big city, you don't really have the capacity to register like all the crazy shit that just happens in one day. So it's like you turn like a part of your brain off subconsciously of like, I'm not even going to analyze this, you know, or else I might go crazy, you know. So it's just like watching that, like them poke fun of the culture in LA was very interesting, and I actually really liked I Love LA. And I've also been watching It, Welcome to Derry. Now, when the reboot of the It movies came out, I must have went back and forth to the theater like 3-4 times watching that. And same with the second one. I loved both of those films. The first one was definitely the first reboot was definitely my favorite. And to see this with a new batch of kids and it being a prequel is also super interesting. Now, I am enjoying the story. I am enjoying the characters, and I think it's so suspenseful, and I think it's great to see it in a TV show. However, I do have my concerns with the things that we are showing on media, because I feel like it's just been a resurgence of like racism. And I'm like, when we have major shows that date back to a certain time when black people weren't accepted in society, or whatever the case may be, it starts a resurgence. It starts like it if a lot of people are watching this, then it automatically like has subconsciously feeds them certain images, right? So it's just like, I feel like with Selling Sunset, the same thing. Why are we getting we're getting fed a story of racism? We're seeing a black person being treated unfairly, and same thing with It, Welcome to Derry. And I understand, oh, this is of the time, this is during this time, but it's just like a prequel. Deciding to do a prequel is definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. I know they're like, oh, let's get the origins of da 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 da, but I'm just noticing how everything is dating back to a specific period, and I'm so exhausted. I'm so exhausted of the nostalgia farming and going back into these cycles. I'm exhausted. But needless to say, it is a good film. I mean, it is a good series. It's great writing. You know, it is TNG, which is the next generation of child actors and actresses, and they're definitely doing their damn job. They're doing their little job. It's the cutest kids I've ever seen in my entire life. I also like Taylor Page. She's cool. She's cool. Loved her and Zola. Yeah, so I do have a little complaint, but for the most part, I am tuning in. I am watching. It is good, but I'm just like, how many times am I going to see a black character on a predominantly they do quite a lot of black characters. It might be even, but like, how many times am I going to see a black character in a predominantly white town that's being racially profiled or some shit? Like, I'm so tired of seeing shit like that, because it just, at a certain point, it just gets old. It's just like, okay, bitch, let's talk about music. The songs that I've been listening to for this particular period of my life, I have been listening to This Love by Donell Jones, because I like to watch music video stations. And when I sat back and looked at how beautiful that video is, I was like, listen, this is stunning. Visually, this is one of the prettiest videos I've ever seen. And I was like, I was sleeping on Donell Jones, because all I know is say what, say what, say what, you know. Great song. A little cliche, a little ran through. So to be able to hear This Love, I was like, this is a beautiful ass song and video. So I have been going crazy with that song. Absolutely. Absolutely. This Love by Donell Jones. Another song that I have replayed over and over and over again is I Can't Help It by Veda. I can hear it in my head. And yeah, I love Veda. If y'all know, y'all know. I probably, if I look at my Apple Replay, the amount of times I play Veda is probably a dangerous amount. She's so cool. Like, the music is great. It feels like dreamy SoundCloud, like in its best era. Experimental, like dope girl music. Like, it's so good. And so yeah, I've been listening to I Can't Help It by Veda, and I've just been feeling it. Like, if on Instagram, one thing, if you keep up with me on Instagram, you know that I will post a selfie and put some Veda in the background real quick. That girl got me in a chokehold. And that goes into the albums that I've been listening to. Where I Want to Be by Donell Jones. Where I Want to Be gives me chills. It actually reminds me of a time, actually at the beginning of the year in January, I couldn't stop listening to John B. So it reminds me of that period where I was just like looking for really comforting music, and Donell Jones was definitely that one for me, like of just feeling like cozy, just feeling warm as it gets colder. And I'm a fan. I got to check out another album. I'm scared though, but yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Donell Jones and just feeling warm and cozy all over with his singing. I'm like, y'all don't even really realize that this is Bryson Tiller before Bryson Tiller. Okay, this is Brent Faiyaz before Brent Faiyaz too. Like, Donell Jones, he was singing about some dangerous ass topics, but he did it beautifully, so everybody loves it. And yeah, that is a strong ass album. Okay, thank you for joining me in another episode of So Tea. This is episode 3, media consumption for October through November. We are about to go into a new year, and I hope everyone, for this holiday season, that you guys are feeling so much love, and if you're not, I'm sending you some love. Okay, remember that you're always tuned in, that everything is you, nothing is you, and to not take this too seriously, because as Daryl Anka said, that Bashar said, this is the afterlife. When we return to our souls, that's us truly. That's the real life. So in this afterlife, live it up. We're not going to be here forever. Stay safe. Love y'all. Love me. Love me some me. Love 444 Ja. Forever.